And we are live from LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, the Guess YouTube, and Facebook. It's Reveting's Wednesday. Welcome to Wednesday, Revenue Party people. I am tuning in with different lighting, different background from Vermont, Exit 5. Dave Gerhardt ran an awesome event today. It's still going on tomorrow. Heard from a lot of great people, awesome marketers. And I'm going to be making some posts on LinkedIn, so stay tuned for it. But we have an awesome guest who I've been wanting to talk to for a while. So we're going to be talking to Ben here in just a moment. So let me get right into this stuff. So y'all know High Level is the freaking I love High Level. It's like I do my email in a High Level. You guys know the story if you're here and you're coming back. But not only that, like, when you pay that $97 a month, and that's all it is, $97 a month, not do I get like the full kit and caboodle of like CRM and marketing tools, but I can also give that same solution to my customers. So I've white labeled it. So it's app.reveting.com. So when people log in, it's like they're in my solution, but really it's just white labeled. And so you should do the same thing. And I would love to help you out. But thank you to High Level for making tonight's episode possible. If you are watching on video, then you can scan this QR code and you'll get a 30-day free trial on my affiliate link here. So it's an extended free trial. And if you do that extended free trial, reach out to me. Like, I want to help you succeed on High Level. Obviously, I'm an affiliate, so I'll get a commission. But also, like, this is how I grew. So if I would have stayed with some of those big SaaS tools I was using with those annual contracts, I wouldn't have stayed in business my first year. So it's really important you keep your costs low, and technology does not need to be expensive these days. And it can be very robust with more features than a lot of those B2B big SaaS tools that y'all are using. So let's just get on over to Cherry Assistant. So I've been talking about Cherry Assistant a ton this week at Exit 5 because there's a lot of founders here and people are busy, man. There's just a ton to do. And I have been extremely grateful for Cherry Assistant with helping me with video editing, social posts, scheduling live events for myself and my clients. It's a game changer to have. And I know that sounds like AI. That really was me saying it's a game changer to have Cherry Assistant helping you because they'll place you. You're working with a service, so they'll help find the right VA in the right location with the right time, as well as the right skill to help you with whatever it is you're looking for. So just tag Cherry Assistant in the comments of the episode tonight to enter to win 10 free hours with a virtual assistant to try it out yourself. And if you tag High Level, you'll get a High Level swag pack. So let me tell you what else we're giving away. What's up, Erica? Giving away tonight. So we've got prize one is High Level. Prize 2 is Cherry Assistant, like I just told you. So right there, just tag them in the comments throughout the show. Prize 3 is a wireless headset from Headset Advisor. This is a professional sales headset. So like when you're on your Zoom calls, you can get up, go get a cup of coffee. No one's going to know. You're going to have noise canceling. So just put hashtag headset in the comments during the episode, and we'll do a draw for one winner to get the headset at the end of the show. And then hashtag email if you want that 1 year free on Lavender Pro. So if you haven't heard of Lavender, you clearly have been living under a bush, but it's basically a Chrome extension to help you optimize your email. So it'll help you with tone, helps you remain concise. So if you are not sure of what to put in your email and you're not well-versed in writing really concise, cold emails, especially, get Lavender. Enter for that 1 year free. It will help you. So prize 5 is for my program. I'm coaching. Used to be 4 days a week. I'm going down to 3 days a week for 1 hour. We're doing personal branding. We're coaching on going live and also how to grow on all the social channels, not just LinkedIn, but I'm also a TikTok seller. Like legit, this jacket I got on TikTok. Brands will send you things for free. They want to send you samples. So I'm getting my wardrobe for free. I'm getting like toothbrushes and like random stuff that brands want to send me for free, all because I built an audience on TikTok and I want to show you how to do that too. So put hashtag personal branding to enter to win a space in my program. And then also hashtag revenue is going to get you Ben's prize. I'm going to let him tell you about it more here in just a little bit, but you can see it's a promo or free courses on Lazy Sales website. So you're going to want to enter to win that. So again, I'll be showing the keyword throughout the episode. If you've been here before, you know the drill. Just put in the keyword and you can enter to win. But I just want to get right into it. So let me bring in tonight's guest. Welcome to the show, Ben.
Thanks so much for having me on, Jesse.
Thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to meet you. And we met on WhatsApp, but that's not like really meeting. And, I'll probably meet you in person one day and then I'll be like, nice to meet you again.
Yeah. But, people are like online. They're like, nice to meet you. I'm like, I don't know if we're really meeting.
Right. Like, let's just keep it real. Okay. Like I know you, but I don't know you. So I'm looking forward to getting to know you better. And speaking of that, I can go scan LinkedIn and read your entire resume, as can the 3 people who are on YouTube and I don't know however many on LinkedIn. Let us know if you're here. By the way, if you're watching, this show is for you. So put in your questions, put in your comments, keep us honest from the comments. But until then, we want to know more about you, Ben. Like we want the full life story. So where were you born and what brought you to now, and fill in the gaps between your resume.
Yeah. So I was born in Marietta, Georgia. I lived there for about 10 years. I moved to New Jersey when I was about 10. I lived there for 2 years. And then I moved to Florida. And if you're doing the math here, I'm like 12 still. So I lived in Florida for about 20 years. And I just moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. Me and my wife bought a house up here about a month and a half ago. So, yeah, I mean, my parents had moved around a little bit when I was younger. And, I obviously I'd wanted to leave Florida for a long time. And we finally, saved up some money and bought a house up here. But the stuff that you can't find on my LinkedIn, gosh, there's probably a lot of stuff that I shouldn't talk about that you can't find on my LinkedIn unless you're in the FBI. No, I'm just kidding. But I used to run a recording studio. I don't think it says that on my LinkedIn. Maybe it does. I used to run a recording studio at my house. I worked with like a lot of big name artists. Not that I didn't work with the big name artists out of the recording studio out of my house. I worked in other recording studios where those people were working with big name artists, and I was just, there working with them. I worked at a music education startup, which I don't have on my LinkedIn. And that was actually a venture funded startup. That was actually my first startup experience. I did not actually know anything about venture funding or startups at the time. So people ask me if I've ever worked when you interview, people will ask you, have you ever worked at a startup? You ever worked at a software company? And like when I got my first SaaS job, I didn't mention that job because I didn't know it was even relevant. Now I know it's relevant. Yeah, I think the only, I think a lot of people probably do know that I ride a motorcycle because it's in the emojis in my name on LinkedIn. But yeah, I mean that's just a little bit of it.
Love it. Sorry, it took me a moment to come back because I was trying to like ask people in the comments. I see there's 7 people at least on LinkedIn. Like, who are you on LinkedIn? Let us know. Like, who are we talking to? Where are you tuning in from? What do you do for a living? Or like, I don't know. We want to know like what brings you out at 9 p.m. as you're scrolling on LinkedIn. I don't know, maybe it's 6 p.m. where you are, maybe it's morning if you're on the other side of the world. But thank you for that story, Ben. I had no idea you had that background with like working with recording in a recording studio with artists. But I guess, like I want to ask some real juice. Can I ask you some juice?
Yeah, of course. I'll spill the tea if I have.
Okay. So can you fill us in on like, there was history with a community and then there was like some like stuff that that happened. Like, could you like tell us the story behind that? Cause I don't even really fully know the story.
Are you talking about the Apollo Slack?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was in the Apollo Slack channel. A lot of people there. I actually got a paying client from there, so I shouldn't have opened my mouth about anything and gotten kicked out. But yeah, I got kicked out of the Apollo Slack channel. And I think it's because I said that sending from sales engagement platforms hurts your deliverability. And then they sent me like some email. They were like, oh yeah, we're willing to let you back in, but our VP of marketing or somebody like that, I don't remember, somebody with a VP title would like to have a meeting with you first. And I was like, I don't really want to talk to them, and I don't really want to be in the Apollo Slack channel that bad. So thank you, but no. But yeah, I think when you're in a community or a Slack channel and it's like sponsored or owned by a company, obviously they're not going to want you to say anything that sort of goes against their narrative, their story. And when you're sending from sales engagement platforms, okay, so I should say it does not. Sending from a sales engagement platform doesn't hurt your deliverability, but the fact that like Apollo's not the only one. I'm not singling them out. SalesLoft, Outreach, they're all guilty of this. They don't encourage you to actually do anything with the DNS records of your domains to actually make an email deliverable. And whereas I think it's like if you're sending from SmartLead, like it tells you each account that you have does not have anything set up properly. So you shouldn't be sending anything out of there. And I think the business model of these like sales engagement platforms and contact data providers really like they just want you to download more contacts. So it actually would be better for them if fewer of your emails got delivered, because then you'd be starved for more contact data. So that's my tinfoil hat theory. I'd love to be proven wrong about that, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I hear that. And like, they were talking about, community or even like influencer marketing a little bit today at the Exit 5 event. And it's true in that, like, when you hire people to speak about things or post about things, of course, they're going to post about those things and do that. And it's not going to be authentic and real and genuine. So, and then once people realize that those are hired people, then it makes it seem like anyone who's saying anything good about you is hired and ingenuine. And so like, I think people should our brands should really reconsider their influencer marketing strategy. And like really look into customer evangelism or like, look at other people who you can highlight and maybe not send them money, but like nurture relationships other ways. I think it was Dave Gerhardt today who said an idea of like, send them a gift, right? Sendoso was at the event. Like, you don't have find a customer, find that person who wants to go out and like speak great things about you or your data or whatever the heck it is you're selling. and then reward them, but it doesn't have to be monetarily, just another idea. I think could have like avoided all of that, right? But like it is true that like in marketing, you have to be real or you're going to turn everybody off.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so like somebody says something in your Slack channel that you don't like, instead of just being like, "No, we're just going to kick you out." Like, okay, why don't we have a discussion? If what I was saying was untrue, we should have had a discussion in an open forum, like on there, where they could have been like, "Actually, no, that's not true for X, Y, and Z." But the fact that they were like, "No, we're just going to kick you out," that to me says that like they probably are guilty because they know that it's true. But like if you want to look at a good example of influencer marketing, I say this all the time. Like Clay has like the best influencer marketing program I've ever seen.
Yeah, you're right. That's a really great example. Thank you.
Yeah, because they just send people like they sent me, this hat and and a bunch of other stuff. They sent me like one of their little clay figurines of me. Like that's a really like powerful gift to send somebody. Uh, if I was buying enterprise software if I was in a position to like buy enterprise software and somebody sent me a clay figurine of myself, like what that that is a pretty good indication of that this is truly like one of one marketing communication, and they're not just spraying and praying. Like a lot of effort and thought went into that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. They're like building meaningful relationships and they sent you a gift. And, I was like, they recognized you. I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, I won't forget it. That's the thing. Like
Yeah.
forever etched in my mind.
And I will say Clay is a brand I saw on a couple slides today at the B2B marketing event. And I would say this is like a prestigious sort of B2B marketing event. You got founders, Dave Gerhardt running this, who basically interviewed like every CMO in the books, and like from a marketing perspective, like Clay is doing everything right in terms of influencer marketing.
They have a unique product too that I would qualify
For sure.
about them because
Which then makes people want to talk about it, right? You don't have to pay influencers.
yeah, because like they're like, oh, look at this. Like to me, influencer marketing should be obviously like kind of like you said, like not to say that you can't pay people, but if so you're gonna do it, it should look like you didn't pay them and they just use your product to solve a problem that they've been having and they want to show people and be helpful. Oh, look at this problem I was having and look how I used Acme widget to solve it, and look at this cool video I recorded of how you could solve it too. And it's like enthusiastic and like passionate and not like some of the really bad influencer marketing campaigns I've seen where people are like paying people who aren't subject matter experts in whatever the whatever they're selling. They're getting people to do influencer marketing who aren't subject matter experts in that domain, and it just totally, in my opinion, like it totally kills their credibility, like both the company and yeah, exactly, and the
golf game
and the whoever's shilling it. Yeah,
for sure. Okay, so we haven't even gotten into the topics yet. So let's get into some of the topics, but thanks for like getting real with me because, I wanted to know. And then like, well, also before we get into the topics, there's your newsletter, right? So you have a newsletter. Let's plug it. Where can people find it? But then also I heard through the grapevine, there was like, you were spilling the tea in your newsletter after all of that. Were you throwing shade on people? Like, I'm not in your newsletter, so I'm going to go subscribe right now. But this is just what I've heard through the grapevine.
I posted a newsletter and I think I kind of regret it, but I did it and it's out there. So, whatever. I did post a newsletter with my 5 least favorite people on LinkedIn, and I don't think I'll ever do that again just because I think it is kind of a bad look. I was like trolling and probably did get some I don't know, negative attention from it. But it was just like, I don't know, man. There's just a lot of hypocritical people on LinkedIn and in the world. Like we're all out here selling something. I'm selling something. Everybody's selling something. But for instance, like if you are somebody who takes money to advertise something and you're not disclosing it, first of all, that's against the law. But second of all, and it's not a product that you've like ever actually used, then people get in a lot of trouble for that, like in the B2C space and in B2B. And I'm not saying like people should go to jail or something. Like I don't care that much. I just think it's a really like bad business move. So anyway, and I don't really do much with my newsletter. Recently, I haven't done much with it. The only thing I really do with it is like let people know when I come up with new content, and that's like a training material, instructional PDFs. I might start using it to like push my YouTube more, since I do have more newsletter subscribers than YouTube subscribers. But yeah.
Yeah, hello, AI. Just like pull the transcription out of any YouTube, train your AI to do a recap, and then like summarize the full transcription into a recap. Boom, there's your newsletter.
I mean, that's a pretty good idea. And
that's what I do, and I sell it.
You sell your newsletter? It's like a paid.
No, I sell that as a service. So like I help people go live. And then when I help people go live, we're not just going live, unless that's all they want to do. And then great, then we'll just help you do that. But we'll help you, or I'll even help you coach you so you can go do it on your own. But like we'll help you go live, and then you have that video. And like I heard Ross Simmons to talk today, and he's just so awesome. You should go search him on LinkedIn if you're not following him. But like he is the recycle your content guy.
Yeah.
So like he has inspired me so much. And so already, because like he's been on this show before, and before that I was consuming his content for years, and he's just been saying it over and over. Recycle your content. Like marketers, we're sitting here creating all this new content all day long. No, go pick your 5 best pieces and rework them. And then like, that's what you do. So every week when we go live, like I'm going to take this, Sabrina is going to help me. She's with Cherry Assistant. She's going to help me cut them all up using Opus Pro, video.ai. There's all these AI tools that will clip stuff up for you, but then also you can extract the audio, feed it to your AI, and get blogs, get newsletters, get all that other stuff. So not only we do that for ourselves, we do it as a service. But you should do it for yourself as well. Like, you're a smart dude. So just like, you just got to build the process. Just an idea, because I want to read more content from you. So if I wanted to subscribe to your newsletter, am I going to lazysales.xyz?
Yeah, and up at the top it'll say sub to newsletter. But I mean, you're 100% right. And I can't remember who I was watching something the other day, where I think I was listening to Make It Happen Mondays with John Barrows, his podcast, and he had somebody on there who was trying to get him to start a newsletter. I think it was the Alex Lieberman episode, who did Morning Brew. And he's like, John, you have like 10 years worth of content. Like, there's your newsletter. Because he was like, oh yeah, I don't know what I would write in my newsletter that I'm not already writing on LinkedIn. He's like, you have like 10 years of content. There's your newsletter. Just go. And I'm on the same page. Like, yes. I don't have 10 years of content, or I do, but only probably the last 2 are worth reading. The rest of it's not related to LinkedIn. But yeah, a lot of stuff there to choose from. Like, you don't have to be a novelist to like have a newsletter.
Yeah. Also, like if you're sitting on video footage, then just like clip it up, and then you got TikTok, YouTube Shorts, all those things. Like even LinkedIn cares about video these days.
Yeah, I'm not too like bullish on the TikTokification of LinkedIn, just because like, and I did post about this actually, which I could totally put in a newsletter. Like, a lot of the ideas that I want to explore, I don't, they're not going to translate to like 30-second clips. But I'm not saying it's a bad idea. Like, if that's just me. Yeah.
So earlier when you were talking about, I can't remember what you were talking about. I think it was we were talking about giving an influencer something for free rather than or a customer evangelist, something for free rather than giving them money. So TikTok is actually, I like TikTok. Actually, all these social platforms, I was like social media manager. That was like my first role. I worked my way up to CMO. So like, I'm all about social media, but I hate them all. You know what? Because all of them can shut you down at any damn time. Like, you do not own your audience. It's smart to have a newsletter, to be owning your own first party data. I digress. But what I love about TikTok, even though I don't love any of them, I say I love them, but I don't really love them. But TikTok, they have the TikTok shop, and it's a really great process as a seller, because once you hit that like I think you have to hit a certain follower threshold to become a seller. They changed it. That's why I say I think. So it's like 1,000 now because it was 5,000 at one point. But I need to go triple check because that 1,000 might not be available to everyone. But if you have 1,000 followers on TikTok, you may be eligible to become a TikTok seller, which means you're eligible to receive samples. So this is a sample, all the like these brands will be like, hey, can I send you product? So like, yeah, it's a gift, but like they're coming on my radar now. I have people who want to send me clothes and like make video in them. Cause when you agree to take a sample on the TikTok shop, you are agreeing to make a video on it. But I don't know. I've become a fan of the TikTok thing just because I guess I've monetized it now.
Yeah, TikTok TikTok entering e-commerce is like that. I mean, that's kind of huge, and I know that there's other like platforms too that are trying to like follow suit there. I'm pretty sure I read about YouTube trying to like follow suit there. Like whoever thought of that was a genius. And I have bought a t-shirt off of the TikTok shop before, and just one, but now they know that I'll buy stuff, so they probably like prioritize that stuff in my feed now.
Yeah, for sure they are. I call it the communist algorithm. They're gonna like it.
Indeed.
It's very balanced, but they're gonna target you. But also what that means is like anyone can go viral. It's like it's so random too. It's like it's such a trash platform as well because the one video I went viral on was because my earrings looked like anal beads.
Nice.
I digress. But so much we could get into here, but let's get into talk less and listen more. And this is a big one because a lot of salespeople have a hard time shutting their mouth and opening their ears. And as a marketer, that's what we want. We want the salespeople to shut up so we can hear the customer talk more on those gong calls. But to understand the customer needs. Yeah. So what's your take on this? And I'm happy to hear that you're coming from the sales side saying this.
Yeah. So one of the things that I think about, like listening to the customers and okay, so on the one hand, you do have like the sales level interaction of me on a discovery call. Like I'm listening to somebody and I need to try to uncover what is what they think at least is hurting them. Because a lot of times people come in with, a broken arm, but actually they like have arm cancer, bad analogy. My apologies to anybody with arm cancer, but, and then there's like the marketing level, sort of listening going on where there's a quote that Henry Ford actually didn't say, from what I understand, about, if I'd asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. And of course he's, because if you don't know who Henry Ford is, he invented the Ford automobile, or the people his company did anyway. And his point being like, people will say what they want one thing, but really like it might not be what's best for them, or or what's going to, I don't know, make the biggest impact. So like, for instance, since I got fired recently, which, we could chat about that perhaps in a limited fashion later. But like, and so since got fired, I've been talking to a lot of like revenue leaders, people who run agencies, sales leaders, both in an interview capacity and as well as a consultative capacity, maybe doing some work for them, contract work or whatever. And, people will say like, oh, well, we're having trouble building pipeline. We don't know like how to build an outbound program. And, I think everybody knows how to build an outbound program. Like that might be a controversial statement, but there's not that many levers to pull. Like there's phone calls, there's emails, there's trade shows. Like everybody knows that that's what you need to do. I think my observation with most people that are having difficulty like building a sales program or generating pipeline is that they're not really willing to put in the investment up front in order to do so. And so my whole thing with listening to customers is like, yeah, we need to listen to them, and I don't take them at face value too much, because I think if you're talking to me about your problem, something's gone wrong somewhere in your in your process, because it's not like I'm like some captain of industry or something like that. Like I'm just some guy. So like if you're talking to me about your problem, um, it's probably time for like a new diagnosis other than what you think is the problem. So listen, but be skeptical. Always be skeptical. ABS. Always be skeptical.
Yep, not ABM, but ABS. Always be skeptical.
Yeah.
By the way, I see someone commenting as LinkedIn user within StreamYard, which basically means we're not going to see your name in StreamYard. And if you enter to win prizes, it won't register. But James, thanks for entering to win. So speaking of like closing your ears and opening your mouth on this listening topic, I really like this topic, Ben. And we let our guests choose the topics here. So I liked that you brought this one up. When I was in school, what I think of, like when I think of this, I think of like qualitative research when you're, because I studied sociology, right? So you want to close your mouth and open your ears. And we had to literally, this was 2006, like listen, record audio interviews of people talking about whatever you're interviewing them about, right? You got a hypothesis. This is science. You have your hypothesis. You're going to go ask all these people from this group this question. Then you're going to transcribe it. And then you're going to find the commonalities between those transcriptions, right? And so, like, in order to do that well, in order to get the proper qualitative data, you as a researcher literally ask the question and then shut your mouth and open your ears so you can collect that data. You go back, you transcribe, and you're like, why the heck did I interrupt them? And it's the same thing on like a gong call, right? But I like to do the research example because it really is data collection. And when you start talking and you don't let your customer talk, or you don't put them at the forefront and just ask them questions, then like you're not getting the data. That's how I like to think of it.
I would too add to that like a discovery call, or when you say gong call, it just makes me think of a discovery call. Like I know there's more
Right.
to the sales process than the discovery call, but I've always like when I've watched people who are like truly masterful sellers, like they're really, it looks like from the outside that they're just having a conversation, like they're just chatting, but like I know that there's a system and a process in place where they're uncovering pain and connecting, like finding ammunition, for lack of a better word, to connect their solution to what's going on with this person or this company. But it looks very casual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. I shouldn't call it gong call. So that like brands it, right? Because
Yeah.
all it really is. But as a marketer, sometimes that's all you have access to is like, hopefully you have some sort of software like that. Unless you work with a friendly salesperson and they'll like invite you on sales calls so you can hear the customer's voice. Otherwise, you're literally like just waiting on secondhand data, which as a researcher, you don't want that secondhand data. You really want to hear the emotion and see the nonverbal cues, and like marketing should have access to that information. That's all I'm saying. I digress. Were you gonna say something?
No, I was just gonna say that a gong has the Google effect when a company's verb, when a noun turns into a verb, they've been verb.
Yeah.
Gong.
Gong, you've been verbed.
Yeah. So good for them.
Yeah, for sure. So James is saying if you're building something innovative, your customers have no clue if it's the right fit. Listen to the problems they have, not what they say they need. Right. You got to peel that onion, right? Like, what's your whole take on that? Like, how do you uncover the problems of the person on the phone?
Well, I mean, if they're willing to talk to me about their problems, I would just pick, like, there's a lot of doctor analogies that I think are very apt in sales. And, if somebody is like, I hope this doesn't upset anyone, but like if somebody's like very overweight and they might say like, well, I don't need to like, change my diet. I just need to get more exercise. Well, that's true. You do need to get more exercise, but in order to lose weight, the only way to do it is really to be in a caloric deficit for the most part. So there's things that I don't want to do, that I need to do
Right.
sometimes. And so like when I was working at Lightyear, like we'd be getting, and without going into detail because it's totally boring if you weren't in this world, but like we'd be helping IT departments get off of spreadsheets when they're managing network infrastructure. So that just means like their telecom and internet assets. And one of the parts of that onboarding process is for them, if they don't have a spreadsheet, which a lot of these people don't, they have to make one and give it to us. That's part of the onboarding process. It's going to be 10 times better once you're done, but it may be a giant pain in the ass in the beginning. So yeah, sometimes people just start. I mean, I'm not any different. Like I'm not special. Like I can be in denial too about the stuff that has to be done.
For sure. I could be in denial of that. It's already 9:38 Eastern time. What the hell? We
Yeah.
are going to get into a couple more hot topics right after these messages.
Check these emails. Wait, I need to write the script. Oh my god, I forgot to schedule all my content last week.
I know the chaos of running a one-person business can feel too much sometimes. Cherry Assistant has become my secret weapon to success. Having an actual niche assistant has been so game-changing. But since bringing on one of their virtual assistants, they have been handling all my nitty-gritty tasks, from DMing people on my socials to following up with leads, even doing the cold outreach for me. Plus, they help with all the tedious admin tasks like managing emails, scheduling appointments, reminding me of appointments. Just imagine the time that you're going to have when you have an actual niche virtual assistant helping you with all these things. So with Cherry Assistant, you're never going to have to worry about the little things again. You get on a call with them. That way they can actually gauge your business needs and they're going to help you fill the gaps. You go to cherrysystem.com, you can get on a call with one of them and they're going to help you find your person. Now you can actually finally free up some time to focus on building your empire.
I want to show you how to do a voicemail drop. And voicemail drops can be really creative ways to reach your audience. And, many of us are spending a lot of time on the phone making calls, but hey, I'm here over in marketing to report that you can do a mass voicemail drop. And let me show you how. Let me log into my account here, Reveting. The hard part about any campaign is knowing your audience and knowing what you're going to say to them. Yeah, definitely check out Lead Magic if you haven't already. So what I love about Lead Magic is their lead scraper. You can see that right here. Also, another thing are the technographics. Then import that into High Level. So High Level for me, it's white labeled. It's app.reveting.com. So when you go in here, you're going to want to, you can get your contacts in here however you want, with the ones that you want to do the voicemail drop with. Once you know who you're sending your voicemail drop to, create a new workflow from scratch. And you can add in your trigger, which would be the tag that you add. For me, and for this example, I'll go ahead and say tag added, and it will be anyone who downloads my free LinkedIn 5-day challenge workbook that's on my LinkedIn page. And if you get that, we'll go ahead and wait just for a minute, save action, and then we're going to do voicemail. All right, so now I need to get a voicemail and I need an audio file. And luckily I have this just like free online tool. You can go to 123apps or online-voice-recorder.com. You can see it on the screen. And I am just going to record a voicemail. Hey, it's Jesse Lizak. Wanted to follow up with you about the 5-day challenge workbook and course that you downloaded and see what you thought of it, if you've had a chance to complete it, and how I can support you on your journey to LinkedIn growth. Give me a call back anytime. My cell phone number is 510-335-9355. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. We'll move this in a little bit. Move that in just a tad. Save. Open so I can't see. So here is my recording. There it is. It's loading. Hey, it's Jesse Lizak. Wanted to follow up with you about the 5-day challenge workbook and course that you done. And That's how people will get into the voicemail drop. And I think you should try a voicemail drop too. And if you would like some support on that, I would love to help you. Just give me a call. You already heard my number in the recording, 510-335-9355. Or you can email me at Jessie, just my first name, Jessie at reveting.com. That's reveting.com. Hope to help you with your voicemail drop here soon. Thank you, High Level and Cherry Assistant, for sponsoring this episode. And High Level does way more than a voicemail drop. And like I said, would love to help you with that. So just reach out and let me know how I can support you. But let's move on into growing an audience. So this is something I feel very passionate about. Patience, so important. Value and persistence pay off. So could you kick us off on this topic, Ben?
Yeah, so a lot of people, sometimes you'll read a LinkedIn post to say, a lot of people have asked me about X, Y, and Z. I'm like, nobody asked you about that. No, I know nobody asked you about this, but people really do ask me about this. I just want to get that off my chest. Maybe I'm a little bit self-conscious about, how do you build a LinkedIn audience? How do you start posting? How do you build an audience anywhere? Because I've started to build an audience on YouTube. It's very, very tiny. I used to do more TikTok stuff, but like I said, I'm just not like super bullish on TikTok. Like I've actually gotten more leads off of YouTube, and I only have 70 followers. Like I'm already getting leads there. But anyway, I just post something every day. I don't really have too much of a strategy, except that what I do know is that if you can both educate and entertain, that people will gravitate towards that sort of content. Persistence, like when I first started posting, I was still selling motorcycles. I don't know if I was, I may have posted about when I was working at a recording studio. I may have been posting on LinkedIn back then too. But I wasn't very consistent. And once I started working at PandaDoc, after a while, I started posting pretty much every day. And obviously nothing happened at first, but it's sort of like going to the gym, you're not going to notice anything at first, and it's hard to see like what's working, but it's very easy to see what's worked, if that makes sense. Like in the moment, you'll be posting a YouTube video or writing a LinkedIn post and be like, gosh, this is like a stupid post. Like I'm forcing it, whatever. But 6 months later, like it's very clear that your efforts were actually paying off. And so I think, there's just like a mental or spiritual blocker that most people have. I think most people are, ruled by fear of failure or fear of success, fear of notoriety. And, for me, like fear of success is, and I think it's something that I still suffer from, is that if I do good this one time, people are going to start expecting this of me as a standard. And I think that's something that's like a self-limiting belief that a lot of people have. But the only other thing I would say about that is, it's like you only live once. Our time on this earth is a lot shorter than we think it is when we're younger. And I mean, I'm 31, so like I'm not like old, but like I'm old enough to know how short our time on this earth is. So all that to say, post on LinkedIn every day, get put on LinkedIn lunatics, have people block you because they don't like you. YOLO.
Yeah, YOLO. And then admit to your regrets. I think that's really commendable. Like earlier, you were like, I probably shouldn't have done this, and you owned up to some stuff, which I asked. I didn't know if you were gonna answer, which would have been fine, and I didn't know if you'd get more juicy and share some more dirt, which cool, or how that would go, but you totally took it in a direction I really actually wasn't expecting. And I think that's so human, and it made me like you more.
Oh, well, thank you. Always like to be unexpected, so I appreciate that.
Of course. So I can see why Jesse referred you because he is the man. But let's get into this AI in sales. So practical applications work. So I actually need help with this. So like I get a lot of leads on my coaching stuff inbound, and I'm not a salesperson. So like if you don't make selling easy for me, and I'm not going to sell to you, like I'm not wasting my time if you can't much like you know what I mean? So like if I
Yeah.
can get AI in sales to do that, that would be so sick.
Okay, so tell me about your sales process here a little bit. So you're getting inbound leads. They're probably messaging you on LinkedIn, I'm assuming. Or are they coming in through like a web form, or how does that initial contact happen? Because I'm trying to figure out like where would AI might be useful for you.
I love this. Yes. So I shut down the course and workbook for now because it was specifically a LinkedIn workbook and course that I had, and I'm making it more about personal branding in general because there's also TikTok. And also like I caught wind, Mark Jarrow, who's here, like who talks to his people, he's got all these connections. LinkedIn doesn't really like it when you say like I'm a LinkedIn service provider. And I'm not trying to like get booted off LinkedIn or anything. So like, I just want to help people build their personal brand across channels. And I don't just help people on LinkedIn. So I'm reworking my course. It's a free workbook and course. It gives them like the basic steps to like, how do you build your content strategy? How do you do the deep inner work to figure out who the fuck you are and what you can talk about consistently? What 3 things do you want to be known for that you can break up into 1,000 different posts in 1,000 different ways? That sort of stuff. So like strategy, and then it gets into like, how do you make a cover image and what are the dimensions need to be? And should you have social proof? And where do you like value prop, blah, 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 like all that sort of like stuff to like get you started on the channels. So it'll be more channels this time. But when I had the free workbook and course live, it was bringing in about 10 inbound leads a week. And that I should have been following up with more live. I had all the automations set up. I didn't have enough email triggers. So what I should have done is like based on their activity in the course, like, oh, you got through video 1. What did you think about this? If you want to get into this topic more, you could upgrade to my program right now. Here's 30% off. Blah, blah, blah. So like the goal is get them from the LinkedIn workbook and course or the personal branding workbook and course to my personal branding coaching program.
Gotcha. So do you have like an ICP that has converted well or that you like working with best?
Yes. That I like working with best tends to be women. I tend to attract a lot of women who want to build their personal brand on LinkedIn. And they tend to be solopreneurs or sales and marketing executives or entry level wanting to like grow and get promoted. Because I talk about my story of like, I went from social media marketer to CMO in 5 years. I want to show you how to do that too. And then now I work for myself.
Okay. So I'm just going totally off the cuff here. I don't even know if this would be helpful. But what you sort of made me think of is like, okay, if you have inbound leads, so I have a website where I also get some inbound leads off of my website. People will download stuff. And so what I did was I set up an automation for every one of the Squarespace downloads, their email address. And I have a YouTube video about this on my YouTube if anybody's curious about this.
Yeah, I am. Do you have the link? Can you drop it in there?
Maybe I probably could.
Yeah, I'm like put you on the spot here now because I know people are going to ask for this later and I'm like, oh my gosh, where is this? So if we get it now, I think that would be awesome. And then we want to send everyone here to go check out his awesome content too, because he is a real human and, he's doing some really awesome things. Obviously, you're a good salesperson because you just did all the right things right now, right? You were just I was talking about AI and sales, and I was really just trying to kick you off to talk about AI and sales and the importance of it. But you turned it into a sales conversation, and then you started to peel that onion and get into my pain points. So you did it all right. So I really appreciated that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So, what you made me think of is like, so I have like a clay table where all of the so there's a Google sheet in Squarespace. All of my downloads, email addresses, and all the other data that they fill out goes to a Google sheet, and then that goes to a clay table with an API, and based on any of the data that they filled out, like, so I don't have people fill in their business email and their real phone number and their real name because I don't think that's necessary. And actually, if somebody has a better idea about how to do free content distribution via download, Squarespace actually like makes you fill out your address, which like I don't need to know people's address. It's probably a bit of barrier for me. So anyway, like any inbound leads that I get, they get sent to a clay table. So their LinkedIn is enriched, their business email is enriched, their phone number is enriched. So like I have all that data, even if they didn't necessarily give it to me. And from there, you could even take this further, and it wouldn't work with every lead, but you could take this even further, right? So like based on their LinkedIn, if they have, if this person has like, if they're a solopreneur, if they're like a 0 to 1 company, 0 people to 1 person. Sorry, I don't think there's I think there's the LinkedIn has like a 1 person company and then 2 to 10, but it doesn't have 0 to 1, right? Because you can't have a 0 person company. Anyway, like you could have those people sorted so that you knew you know, what kind of company they were, how big of the company that they were in, their seniority level, and you could just sort of segment your market that way and possibly send them emails, put them in certain campaigns. Like, oh, look, I got this solopreneur course, you know, send them emails about that. Hey, I have a email course about how to like be a woman in the workplace, trying to push a marketing career, because I'm sure it's hard. Like, you know, if you're working in a company that's anything like most companies, you know, it's hard to be a woman in corporate America. I would imagine, not having been a woman in corporate America,
It
but
sure is hard. I'll validate that.
Yeah. So you could segment your market like that automatically. You could take this even like a step further too. And if they have a website, I know that there's services, there's programs within Clay, or you could use an HTTP API call from a certain like SaaS product that can show you traffic on their website or particular socials, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and or if they have a e-commerce store, you know, you could use store leads to get some of this data and see like, are they performing well? Are they not performing? You know, if they have multiple platforms, which one's performing best? You could segment your market that way too. Be like, hey, I notice you have like X, Y, and Z platforms, but your Instagram really needs some love. You know, maybe free 3 ideas of here's how you could make your Instagram better, and you could even automate that too with AI. Like, there's so I'm just throwing that stuff out there. It's a lot of work, but once you do it the first time, it's pretty much on autopilot.
That is so cool. I love that. So is that the stuff that you're helping with at your agency?
Somewhat. That those sorts of automations I actually am not doing too much right now. I'm mostly focused on like helping people get their sales organizations running properly. So if they have an SDR program, or if they're thinking about doing outbound, and you know, that's the kind of stuff I'm helping them with the email stuff. Also, shameless plug, I did get fired recently. If anybody's looking for a founding sales rep, I would love to chat with you, because that's sort of what would like to do, is help a venture-backed company from either seed to Series B that's in the AI, ML, automotive, or IT space, build their sales program, get off of founder-led sales from the ground up. So that's the kind of stuff I'm working on. Those automations, like I can do that stuff, but the problem is like my skill level there is not that big. So there's other people who are sort of more efficient at that, where it just makes more sense for them to do that. But like I have a skill set around like enterprise outbound sales that, it's not like super hard to come by, but it is kind of a unique skill set. So anyway, that's a long monologue.
Whoa. So James said Clay to what was that? Something else. And then to Claude plus Cardly to do automated handwritten letters. Heck yeah, that sounds amazing. Like,
yeah,
nothing better than a handwritten letter. Didn't know that was a thing you could do, but thanks for that. AI is amazing. Would love to hear anyone else in the comments. Like, what are your AI and sales tips? Or if you're marketing operations, whatever, like, what are your practical tips that a solopreneur like me who has to wear all the hats could use? But also let's get into this fourth topic. So GTM versus RevOps, new roles, reshape growth teams. Could you kick us off?
Yeah. So, I have in my headline open to account executive or GTM engineering roles. And a couple of people who I've interviewed with, they're like, so what's like a GTM engineer? And I tell them sort of jokingly, like, well, it doesn't really mean anything. It's not in the dictionary. Or like I referenced the Blades of Glory, nobody knows what it means, but it's provocative and it gets the people going. That scene. But basically, I had to describe it to somebody today who I was interviewing with. And how I would describe it is somebody who is truly embedded in the sales team. They're not traditional RevOps. They're not a Salesforce admin. All they do is operate the tooling and in particular do email campaigns for the sales team, not marketing emails. Like there's a difference, in my opinion, between marketing and sales emails. And by that, I mean like highly targeted emails based on triggers, news, real world events that are saying we need to reach out to these people. There's adequate reason to call them. And then also focusing on list building, data enrichment, making sure that there's always like a GTM engineer's job. I'll put it like this, is to make sure that whoever's selling, whether it's the founders, the SDR team, or the account executives, never has to worry about, prospecting. I mean, you should always do your own prospecting, in my opinion. I'll never stop doing my own prospecting. Even if somebody fed me a bucket of like highly qualified leads every day, I'd never stop prospecting. But to make sure that they don't have to do that if they don't want to, that they always have a good reason to talk to somebody. And we do that through enriching data. Like I said, real world events, mergers and acquisitions. Okay, by the way, every time I say mergers and acquisitions, all I can think of is the scene from American Psycho where it's like, oh, I'm really into mergers and acquisitions. You're into what? So that's kind of like in a nutshell what a GTM engineer is. I could go deeper, but yeah. I think you're muted.
So you're not into mergers and acquisitions?
For legal reasons, no.
Okay. So looked like we had a good comment from James yet again. So he said, come work at Sift. Is that how you say it? Ben, we need you to focus 100% on automation.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying not to do. And that's why I'm targeting like founder-led sales companies. They just need enough automation to get to a point of efficiency. And then I'm going to start closing some deals, because my theory is that the skills that I have, that a lot of these like growth hacker people, a lot of the people in SaaS Yacht Club, I think a lot of this is going to become very commoditized. And I think that there's only going to be two kinds of salespeople. There's going to be GTM engineers, very highly skilled GTM engineers that know how to program, but they also have to know how to sell. So it's kind of a hard skill set to get. And then there's going to be like true full cycle enterprise sales reps. And I think like the SDR model and like even SMB AEs in most cases, unless they're selling very high ticket items to the SMB space, a lot of them are going to be automated out of jobs. I think, I don't know. It could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe. But hey, thanks James for dropping that. Cause that's always cool. But on that note, we need to give away some prizes.
Okay.
So, Ben, you are welcome to enter to win any prizes. By the way, let me just explain some of them. And I want to have Ben explain his prize here in just a moment. Let me adjust the camera here. We'll go like this. Okay, so we've got prize one is high level. This is swag pack. You get 2 t-shirts, water bottle, which I just lost my high level water bottle. I got to go to Hotel Vermont. I left it there yesterday. And so put high level in the comments to enter to win the swag pack. We'll connect you with the brands after the show if you win, and then they'll send it to you. And then Cherry Assistant, if you want 10 free hours of virtual assistant service. And they will, like, if you saw the ad during intermission, it's basically like they'll do data entry. It's like a whole, I can't even read off everything that's on the menu. It was 2 pages worth of things, but they do like video editing for me, posting live events, really anything you can build a process on. But for the free service, just go back to the intermission and you can see some of the stuff they'll do, but it optimizes your life. So try a VA, just try it out. 10 free hours. Just put Cherry Assistant in the comments to get 10 free hours. Prize 3 is that wireless headset. Put hashtag headset to enter to win the wireless headset, and then hashtag email for lavender. Have you ever tried lavender, Ben?
I have a while back, not recently.
Yeah. Any thoughts?
I mean, when I tried it a long time ago, and it did help me. I know they've added a lot since then, so hard to say what kind of impact it would have for me today.
For sure. Whoa, I don't want to cover you up there. So like move to the side here for us. Here, no, just I'll cover myself up like this.
Okay.
So if you could just tell everybody, if they put hashtag revenue on your prize, what are they getting?
What I'm going to offer you guys is to send you all of the content that I've published on my website. And there's just like a couple of courses. There's the Job Seeker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is it's a step-by-step guide on how to use sales skills to go find a job, how to like enrich jobs on Apollo, send an email sequence. I've even got like cold call scripts on there to call when you're calling like hiring managers. I know people have gotten jobs using it because they've told me. I've got a breakthrough script, which is just a variation of something that Connect and Sell published many years ago. It's a cold call script that I was using for a long time that I still use. Then I got a couple of other things like surrounding automation. So if any of that's interesting to you, you know, I'd love to send you out like a master PDF of all that stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your generosity. And if you put hashtag personal branding, you're entering to win a month free of my program. New version is so much better. What new version of what, Mark? I don't know. Maybe I lost track of the comments and what we were talking about there. But the new version of Lavender maybe is what he's talking about.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah, for sure. Very serious. Raising seed now. Sift is right up your alley. Your response was interesting. I'm open-minded to it. And you're right about SMB sales reps being automated out below 25K plus ACV. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely open to chatting. James, if you want to shoot me a message, or I'll shoot you a message after this, and we'll see what we can come up with.
Awesome. Well, I love that. And James, thanks for plugging all that in there. Whoever LinkedIn user is who just put hashtag personal branding, shout out to Sabrina with Cherry Assistant, who helps me track down people who enter to win prizes because it's not registering in StreamYard, which basically means you would have to adjust your privacy settings because you're not allowing LinkedIn to send your data to third parties. And StreamYard, where we're doing the drawing, is through a third party. So I can't get your data, LinkedIn user. I have to go to LinkedIn and find out who just, it's Grace. Grace. I met Grace this week at Exit 5. She is amazing. Grace, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. Would love to have you in my program. Are you kidding me? So yes. And let's just give away some prizes here. So make sure you're entering to win, folks. So we've got, I'll put the keywords up here. Doop-a-doo-doo. Oh, I guess you still have a little more time to enter because we still need to hear your guru of the week, Ben. The guru of the week. Ooh, the guru of the week. I do that every week. I know it's super embarrassing. So I'm going to Drum roll. Who is your guru of the week? Who should everyone go follow on LinkedIn, Ben?
All right. So it's actually a former guest. It's Ryan Reisert. And the reason I'm telling people that they should go follow him is he was working a job for a while, and I guess he's not there anymore. And so while he was there, he wasn't really posting any content, which I missed. I really missed his content. And now he's back to posting cold calling tips, outbound sales tips, and just content in general around like growing your business. I've read one of his books, Outbound Sales No Fluff, that he published with Rex Bibertson. I'm messing up your name, Rex. I'm sorry. I think now's a great time to be following him. Like, the phone is still, in my opinion, the most powerful channel, and a lot of people are letting off the gas there. And he's just a guy who I look up to.
That's awesome. Yeah, Ryan is a cool dude. Like, we used to have this joke. I'm trying to remember how it started, but it was all about demand gen, because this show used to be called Whiskey Wednesday. It's still called Whiskey Wednesday on YouTube. And I would literally drink whiskey every week, but then, like, for health reasons, I stopped.
Yeah.
We would talk about demand gen, because he was all about that demand gen and that, content creation. And we would make a little cocktail, and it was like a little bit of gated content, a little bit of, I don't know why I forgot about that earlier, but it's so hilarious. Also, he made I used to have this like fictitious character come on, Karen. I wish Karen would come back on the show, actually. I should message Karen really quick, because Karen would love Ben. I'm saying Karen would love Ben. I'm messaging Karen right now.
Okay.
But Karen you have to go back to like earlier episodes to see Karen, but she had basically like, picture like Jake and Kate plus 8 or whatever that show was. John and Kate plus 8.
I don't know. I know what you're talking about, but I've never seen
They
it.
had like 20 kids or something like that. I don't know.
How many kids?
Or maybe 8. I'm not sure. But her hair, it was like epic, right? And so Karen has that hair, and then like she had like the Lego face. I don't know. You have to just go back to get it. But she just like works in HR and hates cold callers. So she would call in, and she would like ask like why people keep cold calling her to the guests, and then like the guests would react and be super awkward. But I digress. I don't know how I got on the Karen topic, but it's Ryan Reiser. He made a Karen song. So Karen, he made like da 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 da, and it was like he took the voice. It was so epic. So when you go back and you talk to Ryan, ask him to play the Karen song for you.
All right, I'll shoot him a message.
Yes, you have to hear it. But tell us more about like your background with Ryan.
The biggest thing about Ryan, and this is actually going to come full circle here, back to the beginning of the show, is he sent me a book called Exactly What to Say. I can't remember who the name of the author is, but it's just a book about, it's almost like a book of rebuttals. They're not really rebuttals, but like it's a lot of different ways to like phrase certain things when you're speaking to a customer, maybe on a cold call or on discovery call, negotiation, whatever stage you're at. Like, one of the things that sticks out is, if somebody's having a problem or whatever, and you're trying to give them some options, it almost sounds like old school car sales stuff, but I used to sell motorcycles. So like, I'm all about old school car sales stuff, honestly. I think the best car sales reps would do very well in SaaS. And, I've said that, and people on LinkedIn are like, selling a car is nothing like selling enterprise SaaS. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever, man. I mean, it's not, but that's not the point. Anyway, so like this book that he sent me, one of the things is like, most people do either option A or option B when they're in this situation, and we're giving them like a closed-ended sort of 2 different options for them to like pick an option, right? And some people say, that's kind of manipulative or whatever, but like if those really are the 2 best options that your solution offers, then phrasing it that way is like helping the conversation keep going and like helping somebody make a decision. Anyway, that's one of the things that I really appreciate about Ryan. gifting that book was very impactful.
Aw.
Other than that, I mean, he just posts a lot of stuff about about giving you reasons to pick up the phone instead of not pick up the phone. And for me, like, that's the biggest barrier to like picking up the phone. Is like, I don't want to, but I need a good reason to, and not a reason like, oh, I'm not going to make money, but like, here's a reason that I'm going to succeed when I pick up the phone. So yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Well, I know there were some entries on some of the prizes and they're not coming through. I guess maybe because of the entry thing. So I do see the one for hashtag revenue. Who was it? I think it was James who put in hashtag revenue earlier.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So James, you are the winner of hashtag revenue, because if there's not more than one entry, I cannot run it. So we'll go back and we'll find the one entry on all of these. And you are the winner of the prize for this. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being the one entry. And Ben, thank you for being here, for your realness. I really appreciate this episode. I think it's going to have a lot of because we repurposed this, and I'll send you the clips as well. I'd love for you to share them. But I don't know, you shared some really real stuff. I really appreciate it. I'm glad that Jesse connected us. I see what he sees in you. Obviously, James does too, because he's like, hey, you should come work at this business. You have to keep me posted if that works out or not.
I'll make sure that James pays you a recruiter's commission if I go work for him.
Awesome. You heard that, James. I hope so. But thank you, everyone, for coming. And before we go, Ben, could you just let anyone know? So maybe there's another James who's at minute 15 on this, and we get into this a little bit later. They're not here live, or they're going to be hearing this in a week or two. If folks want to reach out to you, if they want to plug into your newsletter, could you just go ahead and spill the beans on how they could reach out to you?
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the chat. It's just lazysales.xyz. Obviously, I'm on LinkedIn. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, there I am. If you go to my website, though, it's got a link to my YouTube, my LinkedIn, my newsletter. I think if you go to my YouTube, there's a link to my TikTok, which really doesn't have much more than repurposed content. Speaking of repurposed content. So I think those are the only things that you need. My cell phone is on my LinkedIn profile. Feel free to text me. Yeah, I'm pretty accessible. So
sick. Well, you all heard it here. But until next week, when we're going to be talking to Dimitri Morgulis and Mark Pound, and we're going to be getting into some more hot topics on sales and marketing. Catch us here on Wednesday. But until then, I hope you all stay safe. I'll be in Vermont. So if you're in Vermont at the Exit 5 event, give me a shout out. Or if you just live in Burlington, reach out. There's not very many people here. But thank you so much again for joining us, Ben.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Of course. All right. Peace out.